Journey into the Quiet. Chapter 1. The Whisper of Stillness. In a little village, tucked far beyond the known maps, where the sky always seemed a little more golden and the winds a bit more thoughtful, there lived a woman named Elira. Her days passed peacefully, her life sewn into the rhythm of gentle breezes, crackling fires, and the soft hum of the earth. She had long hair the color of roasted chestnuts, and eyes that reflected the misty lake that bordered her cottage. Elira was not known for great adventures or loud declarations. She was a listener to birdsong, to distant thunder, to the lull of the waves lapping against old stone. Her world was one of gentle details. But something was shifting. At night, the wind brought dreams not her own. Voices, not of people, but of places. A desert that murmured, a mountain that breathed, a forest whose silence was louder than storms. And so, with her satchel of wool blankets, dried honey cakes, and a notebook she'd never written in, Elira stepped outside her wooden door, closed it with a final click, and walked toward the unknown. Not to escape noise, but to find the quiet. Chapter 2. Meadow of Slumber. Elira's first stop was a field of feathergrass. It was said the wind here could rock a person to sleep like a lullaby, and as she crossed it, she felt the proof. Each step muffled beneath tufts of pale green and silver. The air was heavy with the scent of chamomile and lavender. Bees floated gently, not buzzing, but sighing, wings moving in soft flutters. She sat in the meadow until her breathing matched the pace of the petals. She didn't sleep, but she drifted, eyes half closed, mind unraveling its knots. In the distance stood a willow tree, ancient and curved like the back of a wise elder. It whispered to her without words. She knew she would return here, but not yet. Chapter 3. The Hollow Stream. The next day brought a path of pebbles and moss. A narrow stream followed beside her like a silver thread. Its voice was unlike other rivers, not splashing or rushing, but gurgling as if reciting poetry to itself. Elira paused, cupped her hands, and drank. The water tasted like quiet thoughts. A fox, white as snow and almost glowing, appeared at the edge of the trees. It looked at her with eyes like deep wells, not curious, not afraid, as if it had been expecting her. She followed it. It didn't run, but moved in slow, dreamlike steps. Through a tunnel of trees, the light dimming, sounds softening. Even the crunch of leaves beneath her feet began to fade. When the forest opened, she found herself standing before a lake of glass. No ripples, no birds, only silence. The fox disappeared without a sound. Chapter 4. The Cottage Between Worlds. At the edge of the lake was a cottage, not hers, and yet familiar. It was small, made of smooth stone, moss-covered, with smoke curling from a crooked chimney. A woman opened the door. She had silver hair tied in braids and eyes that shimmered like moonlight on water. "I've been waiting," she said, stepping aside. "Come in. You must be tired." Inside, the cottage smelled of warm bread, pine, and something Elira couldn't place. Maybe memory. A woman poured tea that didn't steam but somehow warmed Elira's palms. It tasted like rest. "You're on the journey," the woman said softly. "The quiet isn't a place, it's a state. But sometimes we must travel far to find what's already inside us." Elira nodded. She didn't ask who the woman was. She already knew. Somehow. Chapter 5. Dreams of the Deep Forest. She stayed the night in the cottage, and in her sleep, she dreamed not of people or things, but of emotions taking form. A breeze shaped like comfort, a glowing shape called solace, a path of glowing sand that hummed with wordless lullabies. When she awoke, she found a note on her blanket, not written in ink, but in shifting silver light. Keep going. The deeper the stillness, the clearer the truth. The woman was gone. The cottage, too. Only the lake remained, its surface mirroring the pale blue sky. Elira felt no fear, just a gentle calling, and so she walked on. Chapter 6: The Village That Sleeps. As days passed, Elira entered a hidden valley. An entire village lay there, but not one soul stirred. The doors were open, the lamps still burning, but everyone slept, peacefully, deeply. She tiptoed through the cobbled streets, her footsteps soft. No one moved, but all were breathing, dreaming. In the square stood a statue of a child, eyes closed, a finger pressed to its lips. She understood. This place was sacred. Elira left a note near a sleeping elder's bed with a line from her dream, "May your silence bloom." Then she moved on. Chapter 7: The Night Fields. Under a sky streaked with stars, Elira found herself in fields that only bloomed at night. Dark purple flowers, with petals like velvet, shimmered as she walked. Fireflies danced among them, casting golden glows. She lay down, arms spread, feeling the earth's slow pulse beneath her back. It was here she heard the quiet most deeply. Not with her ears, but her chest. Her ribs held it, her heart cradled it. She slept without dreaming, for the first time in years. Chapter 8: The Library of Forgotten Sounds. By dusk the next day, Elira stumbled upon a strange building half buried in a hill. A bell chimed, not with sound, but with a vibration she felt in her spine. Inside, shelves upon shelves of jars, each sealed, each labeled, not with names, but with moments. Crackle of first fire, mother's humming, last heartbeat of a fallen tree. She opened one. A soft whir filled the room, a lullaby sung in a forgotten language. Her eyes welled up. It felt like being hugged by time. She left her own jar behind, wind through the meadow, second morning. Chapter 9: The Echoless Cavern. At the base of a great mountain was a cave that swallowed sound. Elira stepped inside and immediately felt it. No echo, no whisper, no thought. Her mind grew louder until it too gave up. Then stillness. Complete, perfect stillness. She sat in that cavern for hours, or maybe days. Time stopped measuring itself, and when she walked out, she felt lighter, like a burden had dissolved, one she hadn't known she carried. Chapter 10: The Tides of the Mind. Elira reached the ocean at last, a beach where waves rolled in without a sound. The sea moved but silently, like a thought not yet spoken. She walked barefoot along the shore. The sand was cool, silky. The air smelled like salt and memory. She picked up a smooth stone. On it, carved by time, everything ends in quiet. She smiled, placed the stone in her satchel, and sat facing the water. And for the first time, she didn't wonder what came next. Chapter 11: The Cloak of Stillness. Elira awoke on the beach, with dew on her lashes and the soft hush of the sea behind her. The air was wrapped in fog, making the world feel like a dream not yet formed. She reached into her satchel and pulled out the cloak the silver-haired woman had given her back in the cottage. It wasn't made of cloth, but of something softer than silence, something like the memory of lullabies and the softness of falling snow. When she draped it over her shoulders, the world grew quieter still, as though it respected her intention. She walked inland, wrapped in that soundless cloak, her breath steady, each step a soft exhale of peace. Chapter 12. The Garden of Gentle Things. Her path led to a garden not tended by hands, but by time and kindness. Everything here grew in curved shapes, spirals, ovals, soft loops. Flowers that never burst open, only slowly unfolded. Trees with leaves like feathers. Even the bees hovered rather than buzzed. She met an old man watering the roots of a cloud-shaped shrub. His watering can poured not water, but tiny lights. "Elira," he said, without looking up. She didn't ask how he knew her name. She sat beside him and helped guide the lights to the roots. "The quiet is not a destination," he murmured, "but an understanding. The more you listen, the more you'll hear what has always been." Elira spent 3 days there, sleeping under the curling branches, drinking dew tea, and journaling wordless things into her notebook. Chapter 13. The Songless Birds. North of the garden, in a grove of pale birch trees, lived a flock of birds that had forgotten how to sing. They flitted silently from branch to branch, their eyes alert, their movements elegant. Elira sat beneath their trees and hummed, just once, a simple tone, soft and low. One bird tilted its head, then another. Soon, the trees swayed gently with their wings. No song returned, but something stirred, like a memory, deep within them. She left them a seed from the garden of gentle things. Perhaps they would remember how to grow it into song. Chapter 14. The Hall of Rested Souls. At the edge of a plateau, Elira found a great archway carved into the side of the mountain. It pulsed with warm light and welcomed her with open stillness. Inside was a long hall filled with beds made of stone, moss, and memory. Upon each bed lay a sleeping figure, not dead, but paused. They were people, yes, but also memories, emotions, echoes of forgotten peace. Elira walked slowly, reverently, past each sleeper. Some smiled faintly in dreams. Some looked as if they'd only just exhaled. She lay beside one, an old woman with sun-lined skin, and rested her hand upon hers, not to wake her, but to learn her calm. Chapter 15. The Hourglass Forest. Beyond the hall, a forest of trees stood shaped like hourglasses. Their trunks were narrow in the center, their canopies high above, catching clouds instead of sunlight. The ground was soft with fallen moments. Elira picked one up, a leaf shaped like a clock hand. When she turned it, a whisper escaped. "Remember the pause." She did. She sat beneath the strangest tree of them all, one that had no center at all, just sky where bark should be, and meditated. Time passed around her, not through her.
Chapter 16. The Midnight Orchard. Night fell, but this orchard only bloomed in moonlight. Pearlescent fruit swayed in the cool breeze, each one glowing faintly, like a sleeping firefly. A man sat beneath a tree, painting each fruit as it fell. His brush made no sound, yet color bloomed across the skins. Soft grays, blues, silvers. "What are you painting?" Elira asked gently. "Memories of silence," he answered. She picked a fruit and bit into it. It tasted like the hush before snowfall. Chapter 17. The Bridge with No End. A white stone bridge arched across a canyon so wide no end was visible. Elira stepped onto it without hesitation. There were no railings, just wind and fog. She walked and walked and walked. No fear, no questions. Midway across, she met a child with glowing hair and eyes like still water. "Are you afraid?" the child asked. No, Elira said softly. Not anymore. The child smiled, then vanished into mist. The bridge never ended. But Elira didn't need it to. Chapter 18. The Silence Beneath the Stars. That night, Elira slept beneath an open sky. No roof, no shelter, just stars. Each one blinked in its own rhythm, some fast, some slow, like breaths. She matched her breathing to them. Inhale with Orion, exhale with Cassiopeia. And then she heard it, the silence between stars, the unsound that lives in the blackness, comforting and vast. She let it wrap around her like a second skin, and slept so deeply her dreams didn't even form. Chapter 19. The Mirror Pool. At dawn, she found a small pond, still and dark, like a perfect mirror. When she looked into it, she didn't see herself. She saw everyone she had met. The silver-haired woman, the sleeping village, the fox, the painter, the child on the bridge. And then she saw herself, walking away, growing smaller and smaller, until there was only rippling stillness. She cupped some water and drank. It tasted like closure. Chapter 20. The Final Gate. At the edge of the map, if maps had edges, stood a stone gate covered in moss. No hinges, no lock, just presence. Elira stood before it, breathing deeply. A voice, her own, whispered inside her. This is not the end. This is the entrance. She stepped through. There was no light, no dark, no sound. Just quiet. Full, soft, unbreakable. She smiled. Chapter 21. The Path of Breathing Earth. Elira moved forward into the unshaped place beyond the final gate. It was not a forest, not a desert, just a realm between. The ground was soft and pulsing, as if the earth were asleep beneath her feet and dreaming. Her footsteps sank gently into moss-like earth that exhaled warmth. She realized the quiet wasn't emptiness. It was the earth breathing slowly, steadily. It was the pause between waves, the space between thoughts. The moment before a tear falls, and the calm that follows. And so she walked, not to reach, but to feel. Each step slower, each breath deeper. Chapter 22. The Grove of Gentle Farewells. She found a circle of trees, shaped like open arms. In the center stood a man whose face was not distinct, but whose presence felt like someone she had once loved. He said nothing. Instead, he reached forward, touching her forehead gently with a single finger. In that moment, all the people she'd ever lost appeared in her mind, not as sorrow, but as warmth. She whispered, "Thank you," and the man, with a gentle smile, faded like mist at sunrise. She left the grove with a heart heavier and lighter all at once. Chapter 23. The Wind That Listens. Up a quiet hill, Elira found a place where the wind didn't blow. It listened. When she whispered, "I'm tired," the wind wrapped her like a blanket. When she said, "I don't know what I'm looking for," it answered with silence that accepted her uncertainty. She spent a night under a lone tree, speaking her thoughts to the sky, and the wind listened without judgment. That night, she slept deeper than she ever had. Chapter 24. The Lantern Road. A path lit only by floating lanterns stretched ahead. They hovered in the air, pulsing gently like calm heartbeats. Each lantern held a memory, not hers, but someone's. A forgotten laugh, a child's question, a moment of awe. She walked slowly, each step lighting the next lantern. Halfway through, one lantern flickered to show her sitting beside her mother as a child, listening to stories before bed. Her mother's voice hummed gently, repeating the phrase, "Close your eyes and breathe, my love." She did. Chapter 25. The Door Without Walls. Eventually, she reached a door standing alone in a wide, empty meadow. No walls, no frame, just the door. It was carved with spirals and stars. Its knob glowed faintly. Elira hesitated for the first time. What if the quiet was on the other side? What if it wasn't? She touched the knob. The door opened, not to another place, but to herself. Memories flooded in. Her first smile, the first tear, her quietest joy, her longest silence, her deepest peace. She stepped through. Chapter 26. The Temple of Softness. She entered a white structure shaped like a spiral seashell. Inside, it had no corners, no straight lines. The air smelled like steam and sleep. Dozens of people sat inside, not speaking, meditating, breathing. Elira sat among them. Eyes closed, she joined them, not as a visitor, but as one who had always belonged. For hours or days, they breathed together, 1,000 hearts, one rhythm. Chapter 27. The Sky Library. One day, clouds descended, forming shelves of soft books. Each book contained one emotion, pressed gently into its pages. She opened a book titled Acceptance and found no words, only warmth. She read Rest. It glowed blue. She opened Love. It smelled like firewood and rain. She left a book behind, Elira. Blank pages, waiting for someone else to dream it open. Chapter 28. The Final Stream. A narrow stream wound gently through a silent glade. Its waters sparkled with memories, but the current was slow. Elira knelt, dipped her hands into the stream, and felt all the places she'd walked. The meadow, the lake, the orchard, the Hall of Souls. They flowed through her fingers like a lullaby in water form. She bathed her face and whispered, "I am ready." Chapter 29. The Return Without Movement. She did not walk back. She simply opened her eyes, and she was home. Not her cottage, not a place, but herself, sitting at the center of a world that hummed quietly. Not because she had gone far, but because she had gone inward. Chapter 30. The Stillness Within. Elira lives now in a cottage beside a pond, or perhaps inside herself. When the wind rustles, she hears it speak in gentle echoes. When she sleeps, she dreams not of faraway places, but of silent rooms full of warmth. And when she sits quietly, she knows the journey never ended, it only went quiet. And in that quiet, she became everything.